Hello, everyone. This is Tom, the Lone Wolf Prepper, and it is one hot son of a bitch out today. And tonight we're going to do our live stream about Dick Proenneke, the ultimate lone wolf. Story about Twin Lakes in Alaska that started back in 1968. Anyway, pretty cool. But that's what we're going to talk about tonight. To prove that when people say, "Oh, you can't be a lone wolf," there's no way. Yeah, you can. That's what we're going to talk about tonight. Yeah, you see me sweating here a little bit. Yeah, it's a tad bit warm here, even in Nebraska. Kind of warm all over the country, isn't it? People wonder why I got such a tan. Really? You wonder why? But yeah. But I tell you what, it feels good. Grass is growing, it's raining. It's good summer weather. It could have been a lot worse. I remember summers here where the thermometer really never got below 100 degrees. We're not having it that bad, but I going out without air conditioning this year. Try to toughen myself up, see if I can do it. Tell you what, it makes the cool nights seem absolutely splendid. You know, I really look forward to when night comes and the wind's cool breeze is blowing. After a day like this, dealing with this heat and stuff, you sleep like a baby. Don't even move. Mother Nature will provide. You know, put yourself through a little bit of strain. When you finally get to feel the relaxation, your body really relaxes. But anyway, we'll see how long I can stand out here in this heat. I got to be right in a place. The wind's blowing, so I had to get in a place where there's no wind, so you can hear me. And then the sun beating down. That's one thing about out here being in the wind. At least it helps a little bit. But gotta toughen up, right? The tougher, the better. That's what I'm doing. Anyway, wait for a few people to show up. Maybe YouTube will send out, oh, here's a couple people. Gonna talk about Twin Lakes, Nebraska, Twin Lakes, Alaska, and the Dick Proenneke story. And you may sit there and hold on here. Anyway, just messing with it. Trying to figure out YouTube a little bit. Appreciate everybody being here though. Yeah, hi, how you doing? Yeah, today we're talking about the ultimate lone wolf. The ultimate lone wolf. The story when people say lone wolves can't make it, bullshit, okay? Anyway, here. Just a minute. I got to do some work here. Casey's trying to be a moron. Doesn't matter, Casey. I can see behind me. Maybe it's Bigfoot. Well, wouldn't that be great? Getting a video of Bigfoot behind me and stuff. Anyway, but let's talk about Dick Proenneke, okay? He was a guy from Iowa. This was back in, if he was 50, he would have been born in the 19-teens. And I don't know when he went up to Alaska, but he worked up there as a diesel mechanic. And he had an accident once where he got some fuel in his eye or whatever, almost caused him to go blind. And he had been going out to the woods there in Alaska and stuff. He had this favorite spot he liked by Twin Lakes. Well, when he was, I believe he was 53 years old in the spring of 1968, he had decided he was going to see if he could go live out there. Okay. And he did it. Built his own log cabin. Made a nice little life for himself. And he was out there for 33 years until they've made him go to California, live with his brother in his years because he couldn't handle the winters no more. And then they've actually turned his cabin into a historical site. It's on some national forest. But anyway, cool story. But that just goes to show you have to drive and you've had it with society and civilization. You can go out there and do it. And he did it just fine. I mean, he built a log cabin from hand with hand tools. Everything out of wood, including the hinges on his door and stuff. I mean, he lived out there for 33 years, was never sick. Yeah, a couple times a year, planes would sit there and bring supplies into him, you know, but not like, say, he had a lot of supplies. And he had his own little place where he kept stuff cool down in the permafrost and stuff, a little box he kept stuff in, like when stuff would be brought in. But he was the ultimate lone wolf, the ultimate prepper. Like, can you imagine living out there for 33 years with the bears and everything? It was part of the nature there. I mean, he could hold his hand up and birds would just land on his hands, like zippity-doo-dah, zippity-a. Loving every minute of life. I mean, all the stuff that went on after he went there, like the moon landing, although some people think it's faked. But all this, you know, all the stuff that we supposedly couldn't live without, he missed. All the stuff with me growing up in the 80s and thinking how great the 80s was, and there was a man out in the middle of the woods in Alaska that didn't have nothing to do with it. And I know Alaska's got other bush people too. But the reason he's so famous is because he recorded it all on a little wind-up camera, 35 millimeter camera, I think, and his logs. He wrote down every night in his logs his experiences and stuff. I mean, it's pretty much, you know, you want a guide on how to be a lone wolf, that'd be it. I mean, he survived a lot of stuff too. I get one time he had to go back to civilization for a little bit, and on the way back home, got a plane wreck and stuff. Survived it just fine. I mean, I saw a video of him when he was in his late 70s and stuff, and some people were out there coming to talk to him, and he's crossing a river, right? And he's just in his boots. He's got shorts on, and these other people got, well, warmer clothes on, I might say. And he's just trotting around in his shorts, walking through the cold water and stuff at late 70s. This guy was incredible. That's one thing being a lone wolf, okay? Why do I like that guy so much? Because could I do that? I hope so. I think I could. Maybe I can try it once. But I do believe I could, but that's what you look up to. Everybody's got their heroes, right? And when you see a man that can live 33 years in the wilderness all by himself, that's pretty good. That is pretty good. Not a lot of people can do that. You know, a lot of people, oh, I'll be so bored and stuff. You know, what makes it easier, being a lone wolf and stuff, is when you had enough of people. It's easy to be by yourself when you don't want to be around other people. It's real easy. When you sit there, I'd rather have my animals around me anytime. I have more fun on a Friday and Saturday night with the dogs running through the grove and me, you know, me interacting with them than going to any movie or party or whatever. I mean, that guy interacted with nature. I think it's an awesome story. I love the Dick Proenneke story. Gives people inspiration. But I mean, you hear all the time, you can never do it as a lone wolf. What happens if you get sick? What happens this, that, and the other thing? You know, what happens if you get in your car and you get in an accident on the way to town or way to work in a city full of 8 million? Does that mean you have any more chances of surviving? It's a lot more dangerous to live in that environment, than it is out in the woods. You know, out in the woods, you respect nature, it'll respect you. Okay? You don't show it no bad vibes. You know, most of the time it ain't going to show you any bad vibes. And just don't get yourself in stupid trouble. You know, don't go trying to shake hands with a grizzly bear because you saw some movie that thought it was cute. You know, that is one thing living out there. You make one mistake, you're screwed. And as a lone wolf, you knew that. You know that. That's why you try to minimize mistakes. You think things through, you plan them out. You know, Really plan them out. What could possibly go wrong? You know, that's one thing in the service. You train all the time, but you train to live, not to train mistakes and die. So, but yeah, that's quite the story. If you can look it up, it's all over YouTube. Uh, Alone in the Wilderness, Silence and Solitude. I mean, I think every prepper should watch that. Whatever Dick Proenneke, well, not what Dick Proenneke put out. Somebody else produced the shows and stuff, but they're not hour-long shows and stuff. They're 10-minute, 30-minute little clips and stuff. But it's interesting. It's interesting. But and he was too. The world was too much for him to handle back in 1968. Woo! He's passed now, of course, but. Yeah, I know what the urge is. The urge. One thing about Dick Proenneke, he didn't have no kids, okay? And people may say, well, using your kids as a cop-out for not, I don't want to say disappearing, but isolating yourself. Just, when you got family, you got people that are close to you, it's hard to go and do something like that. But one day I will. One day I will. So, but anyway, I thought I'd have more interaction. I tell you what, YouTube's really slamming me down. I don't understand why. I can't even have a prepping channel. I don't talk about politics on this channel. Can't even have a prepping channel. Anyway, if you want to look up Dick Proenneke, Proenneke, Twin Lakes, Nebraska. It's some very interesting stuff, especially when you watch him build his log cabin and the hinges and stuff and his door out of spruce roots and stuff. But the thing is, all these people, they spend all this time on a log cabin. I'm gonna be digging like a sumbitch. I'm gonna have my dugout. That way, when it's hot as hell in the summertime, it's cool. I have to run around outside like I do here. Well, I don't have AC in the house, but it's cooler in the house. All right, in the wintertime, it's kind of climate controlled. It says that one climate, you either you enjoy it in the summertime and you gotta warm it up a little bit in the wintertime. But if your place is already, 60 degrees in the wintertime, it doesn't take too much wood to heat it up to 70. Unlike a log cabin, you may be lucky to get that thing up to 45, 50 degrees. Especially when wind's really howling and stuff. That's why the ground, we knew in the Marine Corps, the ground was your best friend. Anyway, I appreciate everybody being here. I'm going to go. There ain't much happening on this channel. Plus, it's warm out. I got to get ready for my live stream tonight. Hopefully, YouTube will relinquish their AI control on that channel a little bit. They get somewhere in today's world. But anyway, like I say, check out that Dick Proenneke story. And if you're an outdoorsy one, you're a prepper and stuff, you're going to like it. You're going to like every little bit of it and stuff. So anyway, everybody have a great afternoon. This is Tom, the Lone Wolf Prepper. I'm out of here.